This is going to be a review of the 70 plus 10 liter hiking pack by Mountaintop Outdoor Equipment. Here's a quick look at it on Amazon, which is where I actually got it from. And as you can see, it does come in a few different color options. So this thing is going to be $80 in this green color. They did have a red, which as you can see is what I have. It doesn't look like it's available anymore. Maybe in the future, we'll have to see though. But we'll get this out of the way and talk about the bag itself. Real quick before we kind of dive in, I want to talk about the materials. It's made of a really lightweight ripstop nylon, and the camera will pick that up. So it did actually come with a fabric sample, which I cut and tried to tear, couldn't tear it, and I have no doubt that this ripstop is true ripstop and it'll definitely hold up. Another thing worth noting is all of the hardware is actually YKK branded. That means that's going to include your side release buckles and all of the zippers. To be honest, I was absolutely shocked that it came with YKK hardware. YKK is kind of the standard, equipment that you're gonna measure everything else up to in terms of zippers and buckles and things like that. So for an $80 bag to include that, it's mind-blowing. So really good hardware, really good materials. I can't find any fault in this bag. So we'll go ahead and take a look at it real quick and kind of discuss some of the features and things I do like, things I don't like, and let you make an informed decision. So we'll start at the bottom down here. You can see you do have a rain cover that you can pull out. As you can see, it's yellow, so it doesn't match the pack. It's really high visibility so for those of you that want to stay low-key, you may want to look at another rain cover, but the fact that it includes it at an $80 price point is incredible. So I really like that they include that. Also, there are no gear tie points on the bottom, so if you like to attach your sleeping bag or pad to the bottom of the pack, you're not going to be able to do that unless you figure out another way to rig it. But you can see here in front of the dedicated sleeping bag compartment, there are some compression straps that run right here, so you can easily attach your pad, whatever you want, right through here. It doesn't sit on the bottom of the pack. It kind of sits out on the bottom of it, or out on the back end of it, but you can still do it. So we'll show you the sleeping bag compartment. It is actually pretty generously sized. I don't think you'll have any trouble fitting just about any type of backpacking sleeping bag in here. And it does have a divider, a fabric divider with a couple of zippers here that you can unzip. So if you don't want to separate the sleeping bag from the rest of the pack, you can just unzip that, drop the fabric down, and it becomes one whole pack, which is a nice little touch. Moving up the pack, pretty standard, real slick. There's not a ton of external pockets or anything, which I kind of like. You've got these compression straps right here on the front, so again, if you want to run, if you've got a rain jacket, a large rain jacket, or maybe a fleece or something like that, you can stick it in here, cinch these compression straps down, and it'll hold it pretty good. So also, you've got on the sides, you've got compression straps that wrap around the sides, one here at the bottom, and you've also got one here at the top side. And you can also see that you've got a water bottle pocket. It is mesh. One thing about this though, depending on what type of water bottle you carry, it may or may not fit. As you can see, the pocket is tapered a bit, so it's deeper here at the back side and shallower here. So I usually carry a standard 32-ounce Nalgene with me, and it was just a little bit awkward in here. I don't really know for sure if it'll fall out or not, but if you're nervous about that, you can just cinch the compression strap down on top of it and it should hold pretty well. You've also got a couple of ISACS loops, and that's the same for both sides. Also, a neat feature that I actually really like is you can, if you're not using your trekking poles, you can stow them away, put them down here in the pocket, and then it's got this bit of shock cord here, and it's basically a toggle. You can just run your poles through there, cinch it down, and it's going to hold your trekking poles on the outside of the pack, which is really, really cool. And that's going to be the same on both sides, so you can put one over here, one over there, or both on one side, whatever you want to do. Also, you've got a pocket here, a side pocket. It's pretty generously sized. It's going to go all the way down here, and one thing too is you can see that the fabric is bloused there. So what that's going to do, of course, is when there's nothing in there, it's going to fold nice and flat and keep it nice and streamlined. But if you're stuffing this pocket full, that fabric is going to blouse out and expand, allowing you to expand the storage capacity of it. So that's a really nice feature. You've got another one on the other side, but there is something unique about that one, which I'll point out in just a second. You've also got one more external pocket here that just unzips there. Really, really large. It's going to go all the way down to the seam right here where the sleeping bag compartment starts, so you can put quite a bit of gear in there. Alright, I did mention this pocket over here. It zips the exact same way. There's no blousing, as you can see, and that's because it's not a true pocket. It's actually a side pass-through to the main compartment. Now, one thing about that, I'm on the fence about it. I do prefer symmetry in bags. If I've got a pocket here, I want one here. If I've got one there, I want one on the other side too. However, I totally understand why they did this, and let me explain. It'll make perfect sense. When you've got a ton of equipment in here, you're going to have this thing cinched down. It is a traditional top-loading hiking pack, so you're going to have this, the drawstrings cinched down tight. It's going to be buckled. You're going to have your lid on and buckled, so it's going to make getting items out of the pack pretty difficult. So the thought process behind this is take it off, unzip it, store things in the center of the pack that you may need while you're on the trail, i.e. a rain jacket, a medical kit, things like that. Take it off, unzip that, and you can reach right into the main compartment just by moving a zipper. So really, really cool feature. Some of you may like it, some of you may not, but I actually really like it. We'll take a look at the top of the bag, and this collar here is where you're going to get that extra 10 liters of storage. Basically, if you've got it stuffed, you're going to extend this collar out. It does have its own drawstring, as you can see, so cinch it down, and then same goes for this one. You've got a drawstring there, and once you stuff it, you've got a buckle on the back side here that you can run over and connect there to cinch the load down. So really, really nice. Get that out of the way. Alright, going to the lid. You do have a zippered mesh compartment here. It doesn't have a ton of capacity, but it's enough to throw maps or your compass, I would say maybe navigation stuff in there. Going to the other side of the lid, you've got yet another zipper pocket on the back side, and as you can see, this thing is huge. You can fit a ton of stuff in there. This may be another place that you may want to store your rain gear or your first aid kit, things like that. So really nice pocket up there. Also, on most hiking packs, if you're familiar with them, you're going to have some type of gear loops on the four corners of the lid. And if you want to attach a sleeping bag or tent, pad, whatever, on top, you're going to either have to use paracord or buy your own nylon webbing. This one actually includes it, which it's relatively insignificant. Yes, I understand that, but they include it, and I think that says a lot. So really cool that they do that. Alright, we'll turn it over and take a look at the suspension system. You can see up at the top there you do have a carry handle, so you can just pick it up and carry it there. The suspension is completely adjustable. You've got quite a bit of adjustability in terms of where you place the shoulder straps, and it's real easy. You're just going to unvelcro this and run it through the webbing here to adjust it to your correct height. One thing of note about that is I am 6'1", weigh about 235, 240, and I had to adjust it all the way to the very top. So that being said, if you're taller than 6'1", this pack may not fit you. I do have a long torso though. My torso measurement is 21 inches, and with it extended all the way to the top, it does fit perfectly. So anything under 6 feet, you're definitely going to be good. So moving on to the shoulder straps, they are an S-shaped design, so they're going to conform to the natural shape of your body. And I hope, let's see if the camera will pick up on this. The padding is absolutely insanely thick. It's about half or 3/4 of an inch thick, which is going to make the shoulder straps extremely comfortable. You know, I have absolutely no complaints about the suspension system. You've also got a standard sternum strap with a whistle. The whistle works relatively well. Also, the sternum strap is elasticized, as you can see. So when you're moving around, you know, it's going to give a little bit to make it more comfortable when you're hiking. So I do like that they included that. Another thing, a lot of times now hiking packs have the sternum straps on hiking packs are adjusted by the tube system. You'll have a little plastic tube and the sternum strap is kind of clamped on that. I haven't had any fail on me before, but it does seem like they would be a failure point. I love the fact that the sternum strap is adjustable just by a typical fabric glide here. So really, really cool. I enjoy that. You may or may not. That's going to kind of depend on what you like and what you don't like. As you can see, the whole backside, the hip belts and the shoulder straps are covered with mesh, which that is hugely beneficial because that mesh is going to allow perspiration to be pulled away from your body and evaporate a little bit quicker. So your kind of lumbar pad here is super thick, as well as the hip belt is super thick. And this stuff here is actually about 1 inch, maybe 1.25 inches thick. So when you've got 50, 60 pounds in this thing, and all that weight of course is going to be on your hips, there's enough padding in here to make it really comfortable. And another thing is, as you'll see here, there is a small plastic stiffener in the hip belt, and the benefit that offers is when you do have it loaded, and again that weight is all entirely on your hips, this is going to support the hip belt so that it stays nice and strong and helps you support the weight that you're carrying. So I really like that they included those the plastic stiffeners in there. You'll see there's not a hip belt pocket on this side. They do include one on the other side. It's not very large. You know, if you've got a traditional smartphone here in 2015, it's probably not going to fit in that. It is pretty small. You can maybe fit a compact digital camera or you know, a couple candy bars and some snacks, things like that in there. So it's not huge. I may replace it eventually. I don't know yet though. One thing about this too, as I mentioned, I'm 6'1", 240-ish, and I do have a 38-inch waist. So what that means is I've got this thing. It's actually set up for me right now. As you can see, I have to wear it with a lot of the nylon let out, and what that means is this hip belt pocket doesn't really wrap around to the front of my body like this. It kind of stays off to the side, almost towards my kidney, so it makes it a little bit awkward to get into that. It's not impossible, but it is a little bit awkward to get to. Not a huge deal though. It's definitely not a deal breaker for me. So that is pretty much it. Oh, and I do want to mention too, it is hydration compatible. Matter of fact, let me show you real quick. And it is an internal frame pack as well. I want to mention that. You can actually unzip this zipper here and access the backer. There's also I don't think the camera's going to get this, but there's a elasticized pocket here that you can use to hang your bladder from or into to keep it separated, and there's your hangers on both sides. One thing worth noting is you only have one H2O or water bladder hose port on this pack, and it's on the left side. So if you like to carry your water on your right shoulder, you're not going to be able to do it with this pack unless you modify it and cut a hole in it or something like that yourself. So that's pretty much it. Again, this is the 70 plus 10 liter hiking pack by Mountaintop Outdoor Equipment Company. Really great pack. For the money you're going to spend, you're going to get features that you would expect on something that you're going to spend 2 or 3 times the price for. So I can't recommend it enough. If you have any questions, comments, just leave them in the section below, and if you don't mind, subscribe and let me know if you have any questions. I appreciate it.